Planning your Royal Caribbean cruise in 2022 is going to be different than planning any other year. And today I've got 22 do's and don'ts for your Royal Caribbean cruise in 2022. See what I did there? Up next. Hey everyone, it's Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Going on a cruise in 2022 is just different, right? Even compared to last summer, things have already changed, and planning for your cruise is going to be different as well. The good news is that cruise ships are sailing, and there are a few important things you can do during this time to prepare for your 2022 cruise in the spring, summer, winter, or fall. And I wanted to share with you tips on being prepared rather than like tips for on board the ship. You want the tips and secrets about what to do on board your ship and all those cool little tricks of the trade. We've got those at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. But here we go, 22 tips for planning a cruise vacation this year. Number one, never assume your plans are written in stone. If there's been one constant with cruises since they restarted, it's that no plans are ever a sure bet. More than likely, a cruise that you have booked in 2022 will probably happen, but itinerary changes are quite possible, and even a cancellation can't be ruled out. I think we all saw back in January how the Omicron variant really disrupted a lot of those plans. So where your cruise is going is important. I think for most people, focus on the ports of call, but when considering which ship to sail on, you might place a greater value on a ship that has the features, staterooms, and dining options that appeal to you the most. Statistically, there's a good chance your cruise will happen and the ports you have scheduled will occur. Remember, the media isn't reporting on all the ships that successfully stopped at each port, so it's easy to lose sight of the fact that most ships and visits are occurring as scheduled. In fact, here in February, it's pretty much business as usual. So the good news is there's a pretty good chance it can happen, that you're going to go to the places you have planned, but nothing is written in stone. Number two, keep an eye on your final payment date. Royal Caribbean has been pushing back final payment dates for upcoming sailings, so don't assume your final payment date is a lock. Certainly, your travel agent should keep you informed if something changes, but so far, Royal Caribbean has pushed back the final payment date to 30 days before sailing for cruises through May 2022. That isn't to say you shouldn't make final payment date earlier than that, but if you're on the fence about going, you have more time to decide. Number three, keep an eye out on what other cruise lines are doing. The cruise industry is a tight-knit group, so it makes sense to see what Royal Caribbean's competitors are doing and not doing these days. Whether it's extending or changing policies or even canceling cruises, there's value in looking at the entire industry for trends. Personally, I put a higher weight on what Norwegian Cruise Line or Carnival Cruise Line does rather than maybe some European lines or even smaller lines that operate here in North America, because Norwegian and Carnival are really closer to Royal Caribbean in their approach to cruising. Number four, always book refundable cruise fare. There's nothing wrong with booking a cruise for 2022 or 2023, but book refundable cruise fare. It has never been so important to have flexible cancellation terms, so skip non-refundable cruise fare and go for refundable. And I'm sure there's some people who are saying, what about the Cruise with Confidence program, Matt? You can cancel anytime and get a future cruise credit. The future cruise credit is the key right there. There's a lot of people who just want a refund, a cash refund. And for that reason, the refundable cruise fare is the way to go. Number five, get travel insurance. If it does look like your cruise might happen, now might be the best time to invest in a travel insurance plan. Travel insurance is a smart investment for many people because it covers you when you go on vacation and some calamity were to happen. But travel insurance is not a catch-all for vacation plan changes prior to the start of the vacation. Travel insurance is not all the same, so read the policy to be clear on what it covers and make sure it covers cruise ships as well. Number six, download the Royal Caribbean app. Royal Caribbean's app went from nice to have in 2019 to must have in 2022. Even if you don't plan to use the app that much on board, it is incredibly easy and helpful for the check-in procedure. So for the first day of your cruise, definitely must do. Our next do and don't for 2022 is do check when online check-in will open for you. If it's too early to check in for your Royal Caribbean cruise, the app will let you know which date it'll become available. In the app, it will list a date when check-in will open. Make a reminder or calendar appointment so you can be among the first to get the check-in time. And yes, you can still check in even if you haven't paid in full yet. Number eight, watch the Cruise with Confidence program. Royal Caribbean offers generous cancellation terms with Cruise with Confidence, but keep an eye on if or when it is set to expire or gets extended. Cruise with Confidence is the option that allows you to cancel your cruise up to 48 hours before the sailing with absolutely no penalty. Royal Caribbean has demonstrated thus far that while COVID is still a major issue, they're going to keep this program going, but at least once they've thought about actually getting rid of it. So you should be well aware of Royal Caribbean's refund and cancellation policy. So that way, if you change your mind, you'll be aware of how to get either cash back, a credit, or it doesn't matter to you. But just be aware of what it is. But definitely keep an eye on when Cruise with Confidence may be coming to an end because it will not be around forever. Number 9, and boy, this one I need with like a silver bullet right next to it. Use a travel agent. It's still surprising to me how many people are hesitant to use a travel agent after all the cancellations and changes that are happening over the last 2 years. But I think not using a travel agent is doing yourself a great disservice. Travel agents have been so incredibly helpful, and with the changing policies and cruise cancellations, they are absolutely essential now. Get over the fact you can't change the reservation yourself and use a good travel agent to save time and perhaps even money. One of the most common comments I get here on our YouTube channel about why people don't use a travel agent is also cost. They say, no, if I use a travel agent, it's going to cost me extra money. Let me say this again. A good travel agent should cost you absolutely nothing extra. The cruise line pays them a commission. It doesn't come out of your end. It's the same price, but you get the service. Why not get the service for you? It will save you time and possibly even money along the way. Number 10, don't be afraid to ask your travel agent for help. Now, in addition to using a good travel agent to, book a cruise and take care of any issues you might have, they're also there to assist with other questions. No one has all the answers, but travel agents get looped in by Royal Caribbean with what's happening right now and have a good view of the changing landscape of cruises. If you end up punting on the cruise, travel agents can also put you at a different place, maybe a resort around the world. We're halfway through our do's and don'ts, number 11, and that is expect a better muster drill experience. If there's one good thing to come out of the last 2 years, it's the simplified e-safety drill. Royal Caribbean's new e-muster allows travelers to review the information at their own prior to setting sail, eliminating the need for the traditional large group assemblies. After reviewing safety information individually, guests complete the drill by visiting their assembly station where a crew member will verify that all steps have been completed and answer questions. Each of these steps will be completed prior to the ship's departure as required by international maritime law. As we shared in a recent video for boarding day tips, you can do actually the first 2 parts of the e-muster drill the morning of your cruise, even before you get on board the ship. Do that in advance, save you some time, then get on board and finish it up by going to the muster station. Number 12, don't rule out more canceled cruises. I thought we were past cancellations, but then Royal Caribbean had to cancel several cruises in 2022, so we're not quite out of the woods yet when it comes to that possibility. Unlike in 2020, it looks like there will be not an industry-wide shutdown. Instead, strategic cancellations that coincide with health concerns on certain ships. Number 13, look for good deals. Another silver lining to the current situation with higher case counts is that softer demand for cruises may mean an opportunity to get a better price for a cruise later this year or even in 2023. When there have been a surge or waves in the past of COVID-19, prices for cruises tend to drop due to cancellation. So the higher the cases go in society, the lower the prices go for Royal Caribbean. If you want to roll the dice on booking something for later this year, when theoretically the current wave is over, it might not be a bad way to snag a really good price. Between booking refundable fare and Royal Caribbean's flexible cancellation terms, you can always change your mind later on if that new booking ends up not being such a great idea. Number 14, don't wait to renew your passport. Passport renewals have been really up and down, really, with some crazy long processing times, but, it kind of goes, there's an ebb and a flow to all of it. Anyway, if your passport's coming up for renewal anytime soon, you should get a head start on it by getting it renewed in anticipation of maybe some delays due to the health crisis, and if not, well, you just get your passport back faster. Number 15, you should absolutely expect last-minute policy changes. Another constant since Royal Caribbean restarted cruises in 2021 has been changes to its onboard protocols, and they can change at any point. Something that has caught a lot of cruisers off guard has been changes at the last minute to protocols. Don't look at the policy changes as inherently bad. Rather, if you're ready for them, it makes it far less stressful to have it, but there is no minimum time threshold. You could be less than a week to your cruise. Heck, you could be like 48 hours to your cruise, and they can change the protocols, so be aware of that. Number 16, stay aware of travel restrictions. You really need to stay on top of your own state, province, and country's travel restrictions and quarantine requirements, especially for returning home after a trip. Keep in mind that when you see the news about testing requirements changing for a country, oftentimes those policies apply to tourists arriving via airplanes. Cruise ship travel is usually handled under different requirements, but be aware of where you're going, where you're coming from, and the rules associated with all that. Ignorance is not an excuse. Number 17, plan on spending more time relaxing than before. Staffing issues on cruise ships is just like on land right now. You just can't count on whether or not they'll be fully staffed or not. So there may be, possibly, less activities to do on board, especially as it relates to performance entertainment, like in the shows and the theaters, right? It's a good idea to plan on spending more time at the pool or on your balcony enjoying being on the water rather than jumping from activity to activity. The good news is all this is improving, but you never know how that could change. So plan on less activities, but not necessarily a guarantee there will be less. Number 18, don't count on your kids going to Adventure Ocean every night. This has been an adjustment for myself. Pre-2020, I would just drop my kids off at Adventure Ocean every evening, but the limited capacity means there's not always possible these days. Depending on how many passengers are on your ship, getting your kids in every evening may not be possible. When you sign your kids up on the first day of the cruise, ask about how many reservations they can make in advance. Then, ask when you can pick up your kids if there's a way to make reservations for another night. Packing some things for your kids to do while on board in the cabin is also a good idea. Coloring books, toys, Mad Libs, tablets, video games, and more might be good ways to save both of your sanities later on. Number 19, get the at-home test. Assuming you don't have any unvaccinated kids, the at-home COVID-19 tests are the best way for your pre-cruise test. Keeping in mind, there's only one that is accepted by Royal Caribbean. That is the Binax Now COVID-19 AG card. It has to be the proctored test, not any of the other home tests that may be on the market. Buying the at-home test is not only easier than getting an appointment elsewhere, it's also faster and simpler. If you need to get your kids tested because they're unvaccinated and can't use the at-home test, I would try to book an appointment as soon as possible at a pharmacy or somewhere else that's doing those tests. For international travelers coming to the United States, there are testing facilities at the airport, so book an appointment online. Urgent care locations are also a good backup option since they don't take advanced reservations and are walk-up. In Florida, lines for these have been extremely long, but you may get lucky. Number 20, don't take cruise rumors on social media as gospel. Listen, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there about lots of different topics, and social media is a great way to share information, but it can also be a source of bad info. If you read a post on Facebook, Twitter, or Reddit, or watch a video here on YouTube that tells of a change or experience that's a surprise to you, don't always assume they're correct. I've seen plenty of misinformed posts, even if they heard it from a crew member. Rumors spread faster than facts, so it may be a good idea to cross-check what you read with others, and certainly our message boards at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com are definitely a shameless plug, but also a good resource to, double-check that what you heard is accurate. Number 21, book refundable airfare, hotels, and excursions. Just like it's important to book refundable cruise fares so you can change your mind later on, it's equally important to have other aspects of your trip easily refundable. Hotels are the easiest since most rates are pretty much refundable anyway, but make sure that you book your hotel refundable price and then be able to check your price maybe a day or two before you arrive. Avoid the temptation to book non-refundable hotel in order to save a few bucks. When it comes to airfare, look at the refund policies. Paying more for a refundable fare so you can change your mind later on might be worth that higher cost. And most shore excursions, whether booking through Royal Caribbean or not, provide a refund if your ship is unable to visit, but be sure to double check the policy before you book, and also if you can change your mind and cancel on, if you cancel more than a couple days before you're set to visit. And our last do's and don't for 2022 is be flexible. There are bound to be more changes coming in 2022. We're recording this video in February. There's going to be changes. You need to be flexible with your plans. I know we all want to make sure that when we book our cruise, everything will be exactly as it is currently, and we can anticipate that. Just not the case. There's going to be changes. Be flexible with them and be okay with being flexible with them, because at the end of the day, you'll still have a great cruise, but there could be some changes along the way. I hope these do's and don'ts for your 2022 cruise prove to be helpful, beneficial, and maybe even save you some sanity along the way. Let me know in the comments which of these are most important to you, and if there's any else that we should add to our list. There's always some good considerations that are out there. Make sure you also like this video. It really helps us out if you hit that like button below. Also, subscribe to our channel and turn on your notifications. That's the little bell icon next to the subscribe button, so that way YouTube lets you know we have a brand new video to share. This has been Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, and we'll talk again real soon.